Today I'm sharing 5 of my all-time favorite photography items that all come in at under £200 each for those of you that might be on a smaller budget. Let's get into it. Just a quick note, all of the items in today's video are a permanent part of my kit for both photo and video. I would not talk about or recommend a product I have not tried and tested. I'll try and leave links for everything in the description below. The first item today is the Lowepro Protactic AW2. This has been my camera bag for over 5 years and I've never needed anything more than this, and given the hundreds of options that are out there when it comes to camera bags, I personally think this is one of the best ones you can invest in. Currently comes in at £190 on Amazon. There is a new and an old version of this camera bag sold. Mine's the old version because it's very, very old, but just make sure you check which one you've selected if you do go looking for this bag, because I believe the new version comes in cheaper and the old version for some reason takes you over that £200 price point, so just make sure you check that. Like most camera bags, it comes with all the detachable dividers inside, so although it doesn't have a dedicated slot for clothes or food, you can just fashion it to how you want it to be, which is exactly how I've got it set up right now. As you can see, I've got this bigger portion at the top here that I often put a spare jacket in, or a lunchbox or a water bottle or something, and then whatever I'm carrying on the day goes in the other slots. It's got your laptop sleeve, all your zippy pockets on the inside and on the sides of the camera bag as well. A waterproof cover in case you get caught on a downpour while you're out using this bag. But my favorite thing is probably how rugged and durable this bag is. The top portion is a hard shell which really protects your camera gear or whatever you choose to have in the top of that bag. If I'm carrying a drone, I often put the drone in the top there so it's nice and protected. It does ship with a fair few attachments or accessories if you like. It's got extra divider bits, it's got a belt, a water bottle holder, and when I bought it all those years ago, you also got this little pouch here that is intended to fit over the belt, but I actually just use it as a pouch that I slot inside the camera bag, and it holds my batteries, lens caps and sensor cleaners, which is really handy. Normally you have to pay quite a bit for these little pouches, but if you're getting it with the bag anyway, then you know. It's been around a long time on the market, but I still think it's one of the best camera bags out there that you can buy. Check it out if you're in need of a new camera bag. The second item in today's video is my tripod. It's currently holding my camera that I'm recording on right now, so I'm not going to have it here in front of me, but of course I'll overlay B-roll and some closer details so you can take a better look at the item. It is the K&F Concept Mutate Series M1 with ball head. I've used 3 or 4 tripods over the years, some really expensive, some really cheap, and for a few reasons, this one is by far my favorite I've ever used. When it comes to camera gear in general, my #1 priority that I look for is if there's any friction with me just setting it up, getting going and getting the job done. The lever locking system on this tripod allows me to have it up and down super fast. Sand and dirt isn't going to get inside the levers, causing them to lock up over time when it comes to extending the legs. That's a problem with tripods I've used in the past, especially ones designed with the twisty bits in order to extend the legs. I don't know the official name for those twisty legs, so that's what I'm going to call them, twisty legs. Over time, I've found those ones do tend to get slower and slower, and sometimes even immobile. I need to get that tripod up fast, I need to get it down fast, I need to extend the legs. I'm also a huge fan of the feet that can tilt backwards and forwards, so depending on whether you're on uneven ground, the feet will counteract that slightly, which is a really nice small feature that I don't think I've actually seen on many tripods before. The ball head does come with this tripod and it gives me no pain points whatsoever. 360 degrees of swivel. You can swap from landscape to portrait without any of the components getting in the way of the camera body, which again has been so annoying on previous tripods that I've used, where you go into portrait mode and one of the levers or one of the bits of metal gets in the way of the camera and you can't quite get it where you want it. Considering the absolutely insane price point for tripods that are out there on the market, I think that's where this one hits the perfect middle ground of good price tag and really strong item. Okay, next item, number 3, I have got the Sony FE 50mm 1.8. But when I talk about this lens, I want you to ignore the fact that I've got the Sony version and think about the cheap 50mm across all the camera brands. I've used Canons, Nikons, Sigmas, and I believe I once used Pentax equivalent of the cheap 50mm as well. And to be honest, they're all pretty much the exact same lens with some minute differences, so that's why I say try to ignore the fact that I'm talking about the Sony version right here. As far as I'm aware, as far as my research goes, I believe they all come in at under £200. This one in particular comes in at £159, and if you pick one of these 50mm up across any of the camera brands secondhand, then bargain, mate. The reason this is one of my all-time favorite photography items, and it's been in my bag since 2017, is because if I was given £1 for every time I took this on a photo shoot and got incredible results, not only would each of the lenses have paid for themselves, but I would have also made a lot of money in the process as well. And when you think about it like that, that's when you know a lens is truly worth its price tag and truly worth having in your kit. Yes, it's technically a budget beginner lens, and it does have a few little issues like chromatic aberration and a little bit of focus hunting in low light, but considering it is a full frame prime lens at f1.8 and it's under £200, you just cannot go wrong with it. Plus they're so small, look at it. When I take the lens hood off, it is just truly tiny. If I was getting my first camera for the first time and I had to pick a budget lens, or for whatever reason, if somebody held a gun to my head and said, you can only have one lens for the rest of your life and it has to be under £200, this would be the lens every single time. All right, moving on, we've got the Kodak Ektar H35 half frame film camera. If you've not heard of this before, it's a reusable half frame camera, meaning that every roll of film you shoot on it, you're actually going to get double the amount of exposures from that roll of film because it cuts every single frame into two. It comes in at about £50, but you can find it cheaper or in the sale if you shop around. If you want to step into the film photography world for the first time, or just have something fun to carry around with you on trips, maybe to capture a few memories on film while you're on holiday, then this is what you want. Don't get me wrong, it's not going to get you world-renowned professional film photography results, and it is built exactly like a disposable camera, just plastic with some nice little features on there. But it is absolutely tiny, weighs nothing, which means it can fit in your pocket or your bag and you won't notice it at all. There's no maintenance needed. All you do is put the film in, get shooting, and you're done. I won't say much else about this, but I have made a full video about it before, so if it does interest you and you want to dive a little bit deeper into this camera and see a lot more of the results behind it and stuff like that, I'll link that video in the description as well, and you can check that out after this one. Next up, we've got my current all-time favorite camera accessory. This also featured in a much longer video of mine, so I'll link that in the description if you're interested. But this is the Peak Design cuff for anybody that didn't see that video or has never seen this product before, setting you back only $29.99. And again, if you shop around or find it in the sale or anything like that, you can find it cheaper. I think I paid maybe £24 or something like that when I bought it. And I know it may just be a wrist strap for your camera, but it's designed to a very high standard, has quick release anchors and a magnet if you fancy a bracelet next time you go on a hot photography date. All jokes aside, that does mean you don't actually have to take this wrist strap off your wrist at any time. You can just unhook it from your camera, wrap it around your wrist, put your camera wherever you want, and then when you're ready to tether yourself back to your camera, just hook it up to your camera again. It's super handy. I do feel really, really safe when my camera is attached to this around my wrist, and your camera is a lot heavier than the strap itself, so if it was to drop, if you wanted to have the strap loose and the camera was to fall out of your hand, it automatically cinches to the full tightness to save your camera from dropping into the void below. Not much else to say about this little guy. It's durable, it's flexible. I think it's one of the best camera straps on the market. I can't recommend it enough. I've loved using it. That is the Peak Design cuff. Okay, this video was supposed to be just 5 items, but I've got one bonus item for you, and I'm not necessarily recommending this particular item that I've got in my hand. That's why I call this a bonus item. And I'm not particularly recommending any brand or anything like that, but more so, I just think every single photographer should own one of these, and it is, drumroll please, a memory card case. I couldn't even tell you the brand of mine. I think it cost me about £10. It holds SD cards, micro SD cards, nice foam insert in there. You can put your micro SD cards underneath your big full-size SD cards if you wanted, so you can double up on storage. keeps them dry, drop proof, safe, organized. It opens, it closes, it's made of plastic. I stuck a sticker on mine that says, "Let's all go to the dark room." The reason I include that item there is because sometimes at the end of the month, payday and all that, we have £10 left over. And if you're thinking, I fancy indulging on a new piece of camera gear. All right, that's gonna be it from me. I hope you found this video helpful or interesting, or maybe you just listened to it because you were bored. Either way, just remember all of these items are permanent parts of my photography kit. I highly recommend them, whether you're a beginner, advanced, whatever level. I think these find a place in everybody's kit. I will say though, if I was a beginner starting photography from scratch, these items right here that I've mentioned today would be the items that I'd be looking to invest in. Obviously, if you're not into film photography, you don't have to go for the film camera. If you don't need a tripod, you don't have to go for the tripod, but I've included a mix of stuff, so hopefully there's something there that involves everyone and might help everyone. Either way, thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Shh. Those of you that are still watching, I've got a double bonus item for those of you that might have liked the look or the sound of the Kodak Ektar H35. I would highly recommend the Kodak Ultramax 400 film for two reasons. One, because it's one of the cheaper options out there considering the super inflated price of film stocks right now. And two, because the colors look absolutely stunning, especially coming out of that little Kodak camera there. So £35, £37 for a pack of 3, pack of 4, £45. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling. I have got to go.